بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Let us have the sincere intentions, لله تعالى. Today we're still continuing from the sense of the hands. However, before we just move on, there's a note from the last class. There was a question about a woman who had an abortion after the soul entered the fetus. Is there an enmity on her, and who did she give it to? So there are details based on the situation, so one needs to check. Did she abort the child herself, or did the doctor do it? If she killed the fetus, the expiation of killing in general is what is applied, and she needs to pay the indemnity. The expiation of killing is known to free a slave, if unable to fast 2 consecutive months. On top of that, she gives a slave Um, she gives a slave to the inheritors of the fetus, and she's not considered to be one of them because the killer does not inherit from who he killed. Now, if the one who killed the fetus is a doctor, he has to fill the expiation and fulfill the indemnity, even if he took her permission before doing so, because he is the one that did that. He acted on that. She is sinful for giving him permission to do that. But the expiation and the indemnity are both due on him and not on her. So, going back to the book, the lesson, the author said to beat a person unjustly. Among the sins of the heart, among the sins of the hand, is to hit a person unjustly. In the hadith of the Prophet, ﷺ, it's narrated that those who torture the people in this life are going to be tortured in the hereafter. And this is by Abu Dawud and others. As it is prohibited to hit or to harm a Muslim unjustly, it's prohibited to scare a Muslim unjustly, like to scare him with a sword or a rifle, that is to direct a rifle or to point a sword at him or the like. The Prophet ﷺ said, which means if someone points to his Muslim brother a weapon, the angels damn him, even if this brother was his blood brother. That is his brother from his mother and his father. So this is not something small. The sin to scare a Muslim is not something small. So people, out of joking with others, they scare them. Like on April Fools, someone might call and tell him, hey, your house is burning, or your mom died, or they took your dad to the hospital, such and such happened to your father. And they think it's a funny matter, but in reality, this is a sin, this is haram. Scaring a Muslim is not something to be taken lightly. The author said to take and to give a bribe. The explanation. Taking a bribe by a ruler or a judge or the like is prohibited, even if he is doing that to give a just ruling. He is not entitled to take a bribe. As for the one who gives, this depends on the situation. Sometimes some corrupt officials prevent him from getting his right, except if he gives them something. So, for example, they do not give him his money, the money that is his right, except if he gives them something to them, or he does something for them, or the like. In this case, the one who asks for the bribe is sinful, but the one who gives the bribe is not, because he's not paying to take what he does not deserve or prevent one from having what they deserve. He pays to get what he deserves, to get his right. So it's not sinful in this case. The author said to burn an animal unless there is no other way to avoid its harm. So explanation, something that has a soul, a living being, whether it's an animal or not, it is not permissible to burn it. That is, except if it is a harmful animal. For example, there is no way to avoid its harm except by burning it. For example, if someone has ants in their house that bite, so they harm an animal, it's not permissible for this person to burn them. He kills it with other than burning. It is confirmed from the Prophet ﷺ. He said, no one should torture with fire except the creator of fire. That is Allah Ta'ala. Now, if there's no other way, there's no way to protect oneself from the harm of this animal except by burning it, then it's permissible. The author also said to dismember an animal. So the explanation is that it's not permissible to dismember an alive animal. For example, it is not permissible to cut off a leg of a cat, and it's not permissible to change the appearance of an animal, to disfigure the animal, um, such as to pull out the eye of a cat or to cut its tail. So to disfigure it is haram among the sins of the hand. And cat is just an example. This applies to all animals. So the author said to play with dice and anything that contains gambling, including children's game. The explanation. Now, it is not permissible to play with die, whether this takes place for money, whether it includes gambling or not. Just playing with dice is prohibited because the Prophet ﷺ said, which means the one who plays with a die, it's as if he immerses his hands in the meat and the blood of pig, which means it is prohibited, as it is prohibited to immerse one's hand in the meat and blood of the pig. Every game that is similar to playing with dice has the same judgment, meaning it's prohibited. So this means every game that is based on guessing and not on calculation is prohibited, like playing cards, board games, and the like. If playing with die includes gambling, then it would be an enormous sin. If not, then it's a small sin. On the other hand, the game that is based on calculations, like chess and checkers, it's not prohibited because one makes certain mental calculations before moving the pieces. It's not like the cards, where, in cards there really isn't any calculations made. You get what the cards are dealt. So it's very different. So, and take into consideration that even though playing chess is not prohibited, it's disliked, which means the religion did not encourage to play chess. Rather, it encourages not to do it. And according to some mujtahids, it's haram, even the chess. And the parents need to be careful about this issue and not allow their kids to play with dice and the like, or other games that includes gambling. Sometimes kids play with marbles and the like, so think um they play with marbles, right? And sometimes that includes gambling. So think about what your kids are playing. Uh Another examples like the board game, the Snake and Ladders, that's haram. Also, Monopoly is haram. So what is considered by the consensus, prohibited gambling is when everyone pays a sum of money. They pay money, and then one of them takes everything. So that is definition of gambling in the religion by consensus. Um, the author said to play unlawful music instruments like the flute, lute, and string instruments. And we talked about this a lot in the class, so we're just gonna move on. The author said to intentionally touch the marriageable woman without a barrier, or to touch her lustfully with a barrier, even if this person, in this case, is a non-marriageable kin or of the same sex. So it is prohibited for a man to touch the skin of a marriageable woman. Likewise, it is prohibited to touch her hair and tooth, which means if this happens without a barrier, for the skin to touch the skin, whether it takes place with desire or without desire, lustfully or not. So there is no difference about this judgment about among the mujtahids. Yes, they have different opinion about if it breaches the wudu. Some said this breaches the wudu, while others said it does not. But they never had a difference in opinion about the prohibition of such action. All of them said it's prohibited. But some said it also invalidates wudu. Some said it's prohibited, but it does not invalidate the wudu. So they did not have any difference in opinion about the prohibition of this issue. So the habits of the Arabs when one pays allegiance to one another is they shake hands. And this is how the men paid allegiance to the Prophet ﷺ. When the women wanted to pay allegiance to him, he did not accept shake their hands. So he taught the woman that I accept your religion, I accept your allegiance through words and not a hand. And this goes for the woman. Like the woman is also she is not allowed to touch the skin of a marriageable man without a barrier. Um, the author said to depict that which has a soul. Explanation. A sin of the hand is to depict that which has a soul. And this is prohibited whether by making a statue or a drawing. Something that the picture on a wall or on a ceiling to print it or to weave it. All of that is prohibited. And this is the ruling in the three schools, Shafi'i, Hanafi, and Hanbali. As for the Malikis, they say to depict what has a soul is haram if it's a three dimension, so like a statue. By drawing a picture on paper or taking a picture with a camera or the like is not prohibited. Now, if one has a picture, a toy, um, or a statue, for example, is it permissible to keep it or does one have to damage it? So, if it has a shape that if a soul would possess it, if a soul would inhabit it, then it would be alive, then it's prohibited to keep it. And one needs to tear the head, for example, to cut it in the way that if this cut was inflicted on the person, this person would not be alive. So, for example, if a child has a stuffed toy, you grab the knife and just slash the back of the head while the neck is attached, for example. If somebody had that, they would not be alive. Another example, if someone draws a picture of a man, but this man, like he does not have one leg or one arm. You can't keep it as it is because this person, um, if a soul would was to, because it's possible that a person would be alive if they didn't have like a leg or an arm. So it's haram to keep it. So after that, you cut it in half from the head. Um, so you cut it in a way that the man does not live if his soul was to occupy that body. Because a man, again, they can live without hands and without legs. Now, if you draw a picture of the upper part of a human being from the navel to the tip of the head, usually a human does not live like that. Now, drawing it is haram, but keeping it, that is permissible. So this is how the judgment goes. Drawing something that does not have a soul is permissible. A tree, a flower, a house is permissible. At the time of Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, a man was skillful in drawing. So Ibn Abbas told him that if you want to do that, that is, he did not encourage him to do it, but he said, if you want to do it, then draw things that they don't have a soul in them. He said trees, flowers, houses, and the like, they don't have souls. And this is narrated by Al-Bukhari from Ibn Abbas. Now, if you see someone who keeps those pictures, they take pictures, whether complete or incomplete, so they're not statues, right? It's not, they don't have statues in their house, but like pictures. Don't rush to tell them this is haram because this person might be following the Maliki school. So take it easy. And one more thing. The girl that has a shape of a little girl, so not a little boy, it is permissible for the parent to bring it to his or her little girl, not the little boy. To a little girl, and it has the shape of a little girl, to bring it. The teacher did not say to buy it. The Maliki says it's permissible to buy such a toy. So if you see someone buying it, don't rush to tell him that this is haram. Maybe he's following the school of Malik. So those little toys that they have shape of firefighters or soldiers or the like. You do not buy them, you do not bring them to your children, and you do not keep them. If you have them at home, cut off their heads or make a hole in their chest in a way that a human being does not live if he has such a hole, or something like that. In a way that a human being does not live, is not able to live like that. And again, from a hole is from one side to the other side. Toys that have a shape of a little duck, teddy bears, and dogs. This rule applies to all of them. This rule does not just apply to a man. And that's all for today. Again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. You can always send me a message. بارك الله فيكم. Let us say تهدينا الصلاة على النبي. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بارك الله فيكم والسلام عليكم.